have a review today, and it is for the book Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. So Neverwhere is about essentially a world other than our world, but sort of part of our world. It's hard to describe. It's kind of where the people who fall through the cracks go. It's where runaways end up, where homeless people end up, that sort of thing. And this specific book takes place in London, and it's called London Below in London. And it's about a man who's kind of an average Joe who, through helping one of the people, the citizens of London Below, ends up kind of getting sucked into it and getting sucked into an adventure of helping, basically, but also of trying to get his way back to his old life. But yes, so that is Neverwhere. The plot was interesting. While it wasn't my favorite part of the book, it was definitely a good plot. I think that inherently it was just the type of plot I'm not a huge fan of, but I still really enjoyed it. Neil Gaiman has a wonderful way of keeping people interested, keeping me interested, I guess I should say. So I did still very much enjoy it. In it, we sort of followed a girl who was trying to sort of avenge her family, but also just find out who she needed to who like and it yeah, thinking about the plot, it was actually quite simple, but the way it was executed was such an enjoyable ride. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say about the plot, but I did like it in the end. Second point is world building. This was amazing. I really enjoyed the world building. As I said, this takes place in London, specifically London Below for the most part, but because London Below is sort of built off of the London that already exists, it was a lot of fun because obviously Neil Gaiman is, I'm not sure if he lived in London for a substantial amount of time or if he just lived near there or what, but he was obviously very familiar with London and was able to name just different places that a Londoner would know. And after reading that, I want to visit London and then read it again just so that I can see all these places. But then on top of that, he built in the London Below, which it's funny because it's both below and above in a way, while it's called London Below, and a lot of it is in the sewers and in foundations of buildings and structurally just underneath London. There are also people who live on the rooftops and who are up there, and there are people who are on the actual streets of London. A lot of the homeless people that are actually part of London, but kind of in between, I guess, are part of the London Below. And it's bad because I feel like I don't really have the words to express just how cool this concept was to me. I guess it's almost just this idea of having this secret magic world that's right under our noses and there all the time. And if you just, if you just step down the right alleyway, then you might end up there is a really cool thing to me always. And the way Neil Gaiman executed it to very much seem, I don't know, I just got very sucked into it. I just felt like, wow, this could happen. And yes, so yeah, I really enjoyed the world building. Definitely my favorite part. I am excited because apparently Neil Gaiman is hoping to expand on this and maybe make it a series soon. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm really hoping so. And then lastly, characters. Honestly, with how much I enjoyed everything else, the characters felt a little bit flat for me. The main character's name is Richard Mayhew. He's an average Joe who gets sucked into the adventure. He doesn't really have a lot of character growth. Like, his biggest thing is that he gets sucked into London Below, and the whole time he just wants to get back to his old life. He just wants to get back to his regular old life. Which I think part of it is that I just don't relate, because if I were in like some crazy fantastical setting, even if it was, and I can't really say for sure, because if it was as scary as London Below can be, maybe I'd be like, okay, I would just want to be safe and at home. But I feel like I would at least be awestruck. I feel like I would at least, I don't know. It just seems like he was grumpy and unhappy and really a downer the whole time, which is, I guess it could be realistic for some people, but if I were suddenly in this like crazy magical sort of world, I just think I'd be so excited to be there. And so yeah, I think I just had a really hard time relating to the main character. But on top of that, I feel like he didn't have a lot of growth, because that was literally his character. He just, at the beginning, he's in a kind of crappy relationship, and like his life doesn't seem remarkable, which is fine. Like, if he didn't want a remarkable life, then okay. But it just, I just had a hard time relating to him. And then the character relationships felt a little awkward and stunted at times. It seemed like Gaiman wasn't sure what age he wanted certain characters, because sometimes they would seem older and sometimes they would seem younger, and sometimes the relationship dynamics were of like two people of the same age, even though they were supposed to be like 20-year age gap. And so that was a little bit frustrating and a little, I guess, underwhelming would be the best way to say it, just because it wasn't bad. It's just everything else in the story was so enjoyable to me that when it comes to the characters, I just didn't like them very much, for the most part. There was one character, I can't remember his full name. He is a Marquis. He is the Marquis something. And I really enjoyed his character, because he's kind of a scoundrel type character, kind of a roguish character. And he was fun. I feel like he was probably the most dynamic of any of the characters. I feel like he actually did have a real arc in comparison. But he was a side character. So I still, would in general say that I didn't super enjoy the characters in this. But yeah, that is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This was actually a reread for me, but I first read it a good 15 years ago, so it was all still rather new, and I did enjoy it a lot. I definitely recommend this book, especially if you like, I would call it maybe a dark whimsy, darkly whimsical, something like that. I don't know. But yes. So yeah, I hope that this review was helpful to you, and I hope you're having a wonderful day and staying well. I will see you around.